important for Welcome back to the SelfSeed podcast. And I've been wondering recently, why is it important for us to define clearly the goals of our endeavors, the end goals of our endeavors, like the objectives of our endeavors? Strictly talking about endeavors, in our endeavors, I'm strictly talking here about, let's say, profit and non-profit terms, on profit and non-profit terms. Why is it important to clearly define these two aspects? Why is it clearly important to define these two aspects? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you creating videos? Why are you using your Instagram to promote your business or something like that? But anyways, why are you creating the videos that you're creating on Instagram? Why are you creating the videos that you're creating on TikTok? Why are you doing all of that? Why is it important? Especially, this is more relevant probably to people who are doing content creation. They are using this content creation as a magnet to attract people, to attract customers to their business or to their personal brands. Why is it important to clearly define as I am doing this for profit, or I am doing this for non-profit as a giveaway? It's just my service. It's just my heart of service, and there's no strings attached and all that. So, hi people, my name is Emmanuel. I'm the host of the SelfSeed podcast, and I have been doing the podcast for maybe a couple of years now, since 20 something. And through all the years that I've started this podcast, the SelfSeed podcast, since for this, should we say like 8 years or something? But yeah, for the past 6 years or something, I've been trying to stay on the lane of, like, to be grounded on the direction of why I started this podcast. I started this podcast to share conversation, to share stories, to share insights, to share tips and tricks on how people are navigating challenges, people are growing, people are overcoming obstacles, people are winning in life, and to share these stories with someone else that they will find it relevant to their situation. Because I believe that as I am here, I am probably facing a challenge that someone else has already conquered, overcome, or something like that. And even if it's in business, be it in business, faith, entrepreneurship, which is entrepreneurship and business same. So business or entrepreneurship, faith, your work with your spiritual growth, or your personal development, which means your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. You're probably facing a challenge that someone has overcome. And so that has been the foundation of the SelfSeed podcast. Not focused on profit, like, not maybe I have disclaimer, maybe I have thought a little bit about how can I use the podcast to promote my other businesses and all that, or how can it bring income in. But then this was me trying to be derailed away from the objective of why I'm doing. But this essence of me being grounded on this journey, understanding these principles, knowing this objective, this podcast is serving, knowing the objective that this podcast is serving, has helped me to go about my years of trying this content creation thing. And in 2022, I tried to venture into fitness and all that, to venture into that arena by sharing it on YouTube, right? Becoming a content creator. So out of the advice of my friends, they were seeing that, oh, I like this fitness and all that and wellness and all that. Then they were just like, why don't you just put it out there maybe someday you could, get clients, maybe you could work with people, maybe you could, get income from it, from the passion, right? And I thought it was a good idea. And so I started on in 2022. And fast forward maybe 4 or 5 years later, that channel, the other channel called Ebo Daily, right? Where I post fitness and wellness, showcasing my journey to becoming a better person in terms of my physical, body, physical well-being, and on that channel, that is where my business came out of, OC, which now is OC Cross Border Services Company Limited and all that. But that's where OC started. OC Outdoors, OC Fitness, OC Wellness, and all that. That's where the community was built from. That's where I began my ambitions, right? And I believe that the foundation of that channel is strictly monetary. Like, I want it to grow to the point that it's a money making machine, right? And it has already done that because it has created the brand, which is a money. Yeah, not so much, but yeah, it has created a brand, right? And the company has grown. Right now, we are this kind of a group where we have a brand, that the OC Outdoors brand, which is dealing strictly with wellness, fitness, outdoors, adventure, retreats, and all that. And we have the Fiscal International Global Trade. Fiscal Global Trade deals with international trade and import export, tender facilitations, market entry consultation, all these aspects. And we have Swahili Wheels, which was just introduced like at the end of 2025, which we targeted it to specifically deal with vehicles and machinery, especially EVs, hybrids, ICEs, internal combustion engines, and just heavy machinery in general, right? And then we have lately started venturing out into OC Energies, where we are just trying to create or facilitate clean energy and trying to help the transition to cleaner and clean by providing transition to cleaner energy by providing the resources, the necessary tools to be there, like EV charging infrastructure, microgrid solutions. We have that's OC Energy Solutions, right? But and so much more coming along the way. And this is just us trying to it has grown from that strict principle or strict purpose of, I want to make money. I want to really make money from this. And the SelfSeed has stuck to its objective of, I am doing this for helping someone. I am doing this as my part of service. It is my way of learning. It is my way of improving my communication skills. It is my way of giving back. It is my way of handing a helping hand to someone else the same way that I am given a hand. And so I have learned from many people in the SelfSeed podcast. I have heard many stories, and I continuously release my podcast episodes, and I'm just like, there's something, like, it is doing the purpose that it was created for. And so all of this recap of these two endeavors, and of this especially related to content creation, is to clearly say that when you clearly define the objective, you get two, if not three things. One, clarity. When you say that your objective is this, it becomes more clear to you, to your listeners, to your viewers, because in the Ebo Daily channel, at one point, I started putting the videos, because I didn't start, the SelfSeed podcast had no video YouTube channel before I started this. And so I was putting the videos on the Ebo Daily channel, and it kind of started getting visitors or viewers or something like that. They started getting confused, like, okay, which one are we dealing with here? Because at some point I was hosting a virtual book tour, and it was on that channel, and it's just like content were not so related, right? But when you set out the clear objectives, it gives you clarity. It gives you as a creator clarity. It gives the viewers or the clients or the customers or the users clarity also to know that, oh, this app or this project or this company is purely for profit. And so whatever that they are offering to us is not out of the kindness of their hearts, but it's for the solely purpose that they need to make profit at some point. So it becomes very clear. And once it becomes very clear, I think it reshapes it reshapes when, how, and where people can help you, especially the support system around you, because it is clear to them. So they know, okay, this person, I can support this person in this area. Like someone, I believe, if you're watching this episode right now, you haven't followed me, so you can understand that the way that you can support me right now is by following me, so that this video can be recommended to someone else, and that other person can also learn something from this, and so you are helping me and you're helping the other person, right? Yeah, this is me telling you, please don't forget to subscribe. Like, yeah, I know most of you watch the videos without subscribing, and I'm not so sure if they're impactful or not, but be sure to subscribe and write something in the comments. Let me know on how I can improve, or if you can share on my podcast, because this podcast is for every voice. So once you make it clear, people are able also to help you, to know how to help you, because they know that you want to make profit, and so maybe you're not making profit yet, and so they will introduce you. As one episode I did coding about networking, I've done 2 episodes about, almost 3 maybe, of networking, but these people can introduce you to the right channels, to the right sources, to the right people that can further your production, can further your creation journey. And the third thing, once you are very clear, once it gives you clarity, it brings the support system, the correct support system. People know how to help you. The third thing, I think, is it fuels you. It fuels your discipline. It fuels your motivation. It continues to, it's like fire to, fire. It is like wood to fire, fuel to fire. It's like more. It increases the intensity of why you're doing what you're doing, because once you go back and you see if it's mistakes, if you relent, you're looking at your old videos, if you're rechecking your progress every day, you are asking for feedback, you're receiving feedback, then it means you'll always know how to iterate faster, how to change faster, how to become better, what to do, what to abandon, what to continue, right? Because that's how it works for me, at least. That I know that in the podcast, people love the conversations, or people want to hear more voices. And so I'm able to bring in or have more discussions with other people, right? In the fitness one, someone will definitely say, oh, bro, you have to eat more. Bruh, I know now my body is not the same as someone else's, but it kind of gives me the insight on how I should do. But the more, like, it doesn't, I think once you're very clear about what you're doing, discouragement becomes the lesser worry. I think it's like discouragement is like on the far horizon. It's a little bit far, like, because you understand that I am doing this podcast is not to get I'm not expecting. I know, I hope and I wish that someday we could have 1 million listeners, million people listening to this podcast. But it's not like my sole drive that million people. I want that one person can listen to the podcast and be transformed or something like that. And for the other channel, it's like, I really want that someday it creates money. It's like a monthly recurring revenue comes through that channel. And so I will try my best to try different means to continue to, to fuel my passion, to fuel myself to achieve that. And I will be discouraged on the other channel if I don't reach maybe 1,000 followers or subscribers, or I don't reach a certain number of viewers on per video, especially when I post a product, like a product short. My Lord, I will be discouraged at some point. But yeah, that is to say also you can subscribe to the Ebo Daily, like, yeah, the fitness wellness. If you're into fitness wellness, just subscribe to that, Yeah, and so I will be discouraged if I do not reach that a certain amount. But here on the SelfSeed podcast, I love the momentum. I love the discipline, the consistency that it's building. I love the voices that the lessons that I am hearing, I am sharing, I am learning. And so discouragement is somehow at the back of my mind. And that's why sometimes some of my friends ask me, how do you keep on going and all that? Oh, in the Aussie, I forgot, we have one, it's a scout path. It's called Scout Path. And this is one division, and this division is about helping founders and entrepreneurs access resources and different resources. And so that is, by the way. So I believe that these three things are the reasons as to why you should clearly define if something is for profit or not for profit. First, it will give you clarity, you and those who are following you. Two, it will help those who want to support you know how to support you and where they can support you. Three, it will kick away discouragement, and instead it will fuel your motivation, your ambition. It will continue to fuel your discipline, your control, and everything else. And so that is to say, my journey or our journeys of content creations are not at the maybe at the peak, or we are not there yet. But once we clearly define the goals as to why we are creating, then we will always be encouraged to continue creating. I have a friend of mine, and I had him on the podcast one time, and we were talking about leadership. Adelami Jimo, right? The global icon. I've always been curious to ask him. He always says that he loves my discipline. But I've always been curious to also ask him, and I ask him every time, how come sometimes you post these shorts on, let's say, on WeChat here on our Chinese platforms, and sometimes the comments are just not so friendly, but why do you keep on going? And he casually tells me that, he chooses to ignore because his focus is not on what the people will say. He's more focused on what at least one person will receive, what the message that he's sending out there. And so I believe that once you know really why you're doing what you're doing, I think it just makes sense for you to continue. It makes sense for you to persevere. It makes sense for you to, at times, to iterate. It makes sense for you sometimes to quit. It makes sense for you to even push in a little harder, right? And so that's it. That's where my thought process for today ends, by me saying that it's important for us to clearly define our objectives in your creation journey, in your projects, in your academics, in your pursuit of knowledge, in your if you're reading books. You need to clearly say why you are reading the books. Is it for the sake of just accumulating knowledge, or is it that you want also to apply the knowledge? It's important to do all of this, to clearly define your objectives once you embark on a certain project. So that's it from the SelfSeed podcast. And this is the Constructive Journal. The Constructive Journal is the season 4 of the SelfSeed podcast. And in this season, I'm just going to be talking about the daily things, simple things that I observe, the daily simple challenges or ideas I observe. And we're going to be digesting them together. Not just me, but I will have more voices, my friends, my colleagues. I will have literally anybody, even if it's on the streets. I'll ask them what they think about. Have you ever thought, that those thoughts that come to your head and you say, what if, And so this is the Constructive Journal of the SelfSeed podcast. It's season 4 of the podcast. And wherever you're listening your podcast from, be sure to subscribe. Don't just listen and let it go. Just subscribe, share it with someone else, probably that you think is going to be useful too. And furthermore, comment. If you have anything to remind me of, if you have anything to also reflect on, just be sure to comment on the SelfSeed podcast and let me know. So until next time, until next Tuesday, keep planting the seeds of growth and keep investing on clearer goals. Keep investing on yourself. Keep betting on yourself. Ciao.